Real Estate Rockstars. This is Sarah Denig, and today I had the pleasure of interviewing an OG, Kellie Revoir. Their second time on the show. Last time was with Pat. So great. She has a team of 13, and they do about 300 transactions a year. She also has an LLC where she actually lends her teammate hard money loan so they can flip, and she advises them through the entire process. I thought that was so cool. And just so much more. She really is Superwoman. So you guys are going to check this one out. Hey, Real Estate Rockstars. It's Sarah Denig from Indiana. And today we have a very special guest that I am pumped to interview. We have Kellie Revoir from Springfield, Missouri. And we are so excited to talk to you today, Kellie.
Well, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. So I just found out before we hit record that this is actually your second time on the podcast. You actually interviewed with Pat about 7 years ago. So excited to hear kind of about you and what has changed and some lessons you've learned since that time. So we're so excited to have you back.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Pat did an amazing job. And I know from what I understand, the Real Estate Rockstars, you guys have really just taken off. So you've got quite an awesome team. So I'm really, really excited to be here. And it was really fun going back and watching my old podcast from then and how much has changed over the years. So I think it'll be a great conversation today.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's bring the listeners up to speed. Just kind of tell us about yourself, how long you've been in the business, if you're, about the team, the coaching, all the good stuff. Let's get into it.
Sure. Yeah, great. Thanks, Sarah. I started my real estate career back in 2013. So it has been officially 12 years now. I've been through quite a lot since then. Started building a real estate team in 2016. So that really has taken on new heights. And we have grown our team immensely since then. Our average transaction count right now is about 300 transactions a year. I've started coaching and I also was a coach. And, the cool thing about being in real estate, and I think what a lot of people don't realize with this amazing profession is there are so many different ways to make money on it. You can have so many different streams of income. So also over the years, I've been able to learn how to fix and flip homes, own rental property myself, which everybody should definitely be doing. And then growing the team, of course, and, just really helping out the industry as a whole. So it's been a wild ride over the last 12 years for sure, but one that I wouldn't change for anything.
Oh, man, 300 transactions. That's a ton of volume.
Yes.
How are you guys getting most of your leads? Does that come from you or how is the team managing that?
We get a lot, most of them just from lead gen systems that we have accumulated over the years. I mean, obviously we didn't start out with 300 transactions. It was a growth process. I started building the team in 2016. And I remember the first year that we broke 100 and it was like this huge deal. I mean, this massive celebration. We bought cake and, all the balloons that said 100 transactions. And I think as you start to grow, you can really start to scale. But it seems when people that might be fairly new at either growing a team or fairly new at being just a real estate agent and all, it seems like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. But they need to realize it's almost been 10 years that I've been growing a team. So over the years, we have definitely accumulated a lot of lead generation systems. For a hot minute, we did realtor.com. That was very successful for us. OpCity, ZBuyer, YLobo, Sierra. Verified leads, Zillow, Dave Ramsey leads. We did those for a while too. So we've really tried our hand in about everything. And one of the things that we really pride ourselves is still being profitable. There are so many teams out there that, pull up these big numbers when it really boils down to the profitability. They aren't profitable. They might be running at a loss every month. And so for us, we are still able to pull some fairly big numbers and still be profitable. Making sure that, everybody on the team is bringing home food for their family, right? Able to provide for that. So it's really been successful. Being in Springfield, Missouri right now, our average price point sits at about $250,000. So it's not like we're at this huge price point where, some California numbers of 8 or 900,000, so it's harder to be profitable when you have such a low price point, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah. I think that's such an important point because you sometimes, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in real estate and you see these people put up these crazy numbers, but that is true. Like it doesn't matter if you're running around crazy, it's what you're taking home at the end of the day. So that's all good, but we have to survive and it has to be worth it. So you're not just running around in circles.
Yeah.
How do you guys decide how much money to spend on leads? Like, do you have a percentage of what you guys are bringing in, or how do you decipher that?
It's really on a case by case basis. We don't have like a specific percentage amount, but at the end of every year, we do evaluate how much money we spent on a certain lead source and then how much that lead source helped. And it gets a little challenging at times because our CRM is follow up boss. So a lead goes into follow up boss. Well, follow up boss then starts a lot of the drip campaigns. And why Local and Sierra are both great with they have like Raya is an automatic text that goes out there. So even if a lead came in, let's say through verified leads, they hit our database. Well, then they go into Yloco's management system, and then Raya, which is their, texting, fake texting person, she re-engages them. So that's where it gets to be challenging because where did that lead come from? It originally came from verified leads, but it might have been regenerated based on another either drip campaign or Yloco's AI system. And so that's where it really starts to be challenging on where we got the lead in the first place, but how it got re-engaged. So for us, Zillow has been our highest ROI, but it's also the most expensive. So if you cannot afford Zillow, because it is very expensive as a brand new team leader, if you can't afford Zillow, then you need to really pay attention. You've got to know your numbers. You've got to be diligent about being able to check checks and balances for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel a lot of pressure to provide this overflowing cup of leads to your team?
For sure. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah, because
thinks they
it's
want to
like,
be a
"Hey,
team
join my
leader.
team and give me this cut," but what value are you gonna give? Are you doing one-on-ones with each person, like, weekly, or how are you giving them that kind of attention?
We host. So when COVID hit, and everybody was working out of their house, we hated it because we really wanted everybody to come back into the office. The culture of our team is very, very important to us. So we really came into the office the first time that we could because we like to get together. So as a team, we have trainings every week on Mondays. And then every other week, we have workshop style Wednesday afternoons for an hour and a half where we really sit down and start doing the day by day tasks of, okay, so you call the lead and follow up boss. You need to make sure that they have an appointment. You need to make sure they've got a task, or you need to make sure they're on a drip campaign. So that's really where the training comes in. Our meetings on Mondays are just kind of an overview of what's going on in the industry. But our actual down and dirty workshop style masterminds happen every other week. And so we do that a lot. I have an office here. So our team is in here quite a bit. I don't require them to come to the office unless it's for specific meeting times, but they're not required to work out of our office, but they are required to make a certain number of calls every day for sure. And those need to be recorded. So within the follow-up boss system, you can have them recorded.
That's awesome. I think what is so impressive just talking to you this little bit is how systemized your business is. And I think that you are successful because you're actually running it like a business. And I think that that's a lot of the mistakes that people make is they don't run it like a business. They're just
Mhm.
going from one deal to the next without really, tracking those type of things, which is very impressive. So kudos to you.
Thank
So
you.
how many people are on your team?
Right now we have 13 agents on the team.
Wow.
And that ebbs and flows always. So if anybody is ever thinking about building a team, I mean, we didn't start off this way. We didn't start off as systematized. We've definitely learned. We had our challenges and our growths over the years. So we now currently have 13 producing agents on the team. And then I have a staff of two full-time employees. My mother helps with running the team. She became a licensed agent in 2006. So at first, her and I did all of this together. And then over the past couple of years, she's really started to phase out and retire. And then I'm coming in full force. So, but I really do feel if anybody is ever thinking about building a team, having a second in command or having somebody that can help you is great because I am great at being the driver, at being the recruiter, but sometimes the trainings I lack on because that's a lot of one-on-one. There's a lot of patience that's required there. And that's where my mother comes in. So really you've got to find somebody that you can partner for performance that has a different outlook on a lot of things than you do. And over the years, I've seen that the most successful teams that have been able to make it have that second in command person that helps. I think that's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I think that's so important too. And I think that, team leaders really need to look inside and figure out where they really shine and what they're really, really good at. So then they can build the team of those things that they have that deficit. If training is not your thing, find an amazing trainer who's going to, go case by case and do all that hand holding. So yeah, I think that's so important. What was your first hire when you started your team?
We had an admin. Our admin was our first hire. And
Okay.
then and that was our first hire even before we started building. And I say we, because my mother and I started this together. Well, she started in 2006. She was the number one agent in the brokerage and really needed help. So I quit my corporate job, came to help her. So it was just the two of us.
Oh, wow, that's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, it was fun.
Cool story.
So in 2013 is when I joined her, and then I actually joined as her admin.
Oh,
And
okay.
then she forced me to get my license, which truthfully I had no desire to do, which is a whole other story in itself. But she forced me to get my license, and then from there, I always say she threw me in the ocean with the sharks, and it was either sink or swim. So luckily, I learned how to swim real quick. And then our first hire was an admin, and that was around 2014, 2015. And then we started growing the team after that.
Yeah. I think that's really special and important because I think a lot of real estate agents get in and they just don't know you have to know those basic admin skills because you're not going to hire somebody right away. It takes a while. I've heard people say, once you start doing about 10 million, you should already have a TC, but get an admin to kind of do those. Like that's kind of a benchmark that I've heard. But you really have to know the ins and outs because, everything happens at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night and you're going to need to step in and pull up your computer and know what you're doing. So
Yeah,
I think that's a really good way to get into the business is start as an admin and learn those things and then move up. Almost like an intern, just so
yeah.
once those deals come, you actually know what to do with them. So really, really cool.
Completely agree with that because I think, a lot of times I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just a check mark. Why does everybody have to initial? Well, when you're an admin, you understand why everybody has to initial. So you're not dragging your feet to get it done. Just go get it done. But a
Yeah.
lot of times you don't feel that way.
Yeah. So what are you guys using to track each individual agent's numbers? Do you have something
We use
electronic or spreadsheets?
spreadsheets. Yeah. Follow up bots, tracks with Sisu. I don't know how you say it, to be
Nah,
honest.
I don't. Yeah.
Kind
Tomato,
of like a
tomato.
gala or a gala. I don't know what it is. So, but follow up boss merges with Sisu. So that's how we do it. But prior to having all of that fancy tech stuff, we just use good old fashioned spreadsheets. Every morning at 8:30 in the morning, our team has a daily huddle. It is literally just a phone call. It will take 10 to 15 minutes for all of us to say good morning and then tell me your numbers from yesterday. And then one of my admin tracks it. So, and then at the end of every month, we go over our numbers for the month. So
That's awesome.
that's how we used to do it. We just started using Sisu with Follow Up Boss recently within the last 12 months. So that's how we do it now. But prior to that, it was literally good old fashioned pen and paper that you entered into a spreadsheet.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like there are some team leaders that do not get people together and actually talk about their numbers. And I personally think that it's something we should always be talking about because you need to be accountable. And when everybody's saying they're doing all these things, I think it motivates you to take action because,
Mm.
you don't want to have nothing to discuss. I think that's a good way to get people going. But, not everybody agrees with that, but I'm in for it.
No.
Like,
There are
do
so
the
many
work.
people over yes, just do the work. There's something to be said about having to jump on that phone every morning and say, well, I only called 2 people yesterday. And you're like, 2 people? When you hear other people saying, I called 72 people. I mean, there is that competitiveness that just naturally comes out. So I would really say that I used to fight these daily huddles. My coach said, you need to do daily huddles. I'm like, that sounds so stupid. But now That was in 2016. I mean, that was one of the things we said, fine, we'll implement it. And boy, I tell you, our team really started to flourish after that. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is because there is that level of accountability. There is that competitiveness that naturally comes out, but also I'm saying hi to everybody every morning.
Mhm.
So, it's just the good, that goes back to fueling the type of culture that you want to have. And
Yeah, I
we
think it's
have our
good to have a
call at
pulse
8.
on everything, like, you need to know
Yeah.
what's going on because I feel like some people, they'll just go into a hole and you don't know where they're at, what they're doing. So it's just a good way to, keep people accountable, and I think we all need that sometimes. Um
Yes.
But yeah, isn't it funny? Like, I know when my coach brings up something, and my stomach drops, those are always the things that I don't wanna do, and they're
Uh-huh.
always the things that, like, really get the job done and you grow and I think that goes back to, you just gotta get uncomfortable, and that's the only way you grow, and trying these things, and, not everything works for each style of person, but you gotta figure it out.
Yeah. That's why you and I have coaches. I mean, that's how we got where we are today because we listen to our coaches. We do the things they tell us to do. And that's why people join your team is because they don't, they think they want it, then they don't want it. Just depends on how angry they are at you for the day. But, really, our coaches hold us accountable. It's not like the team leaders
Mhm.
are never held accountable either. We have to
Yeah.
hold people accountable all the time.
What kinda coaching are you doing?
I was with a company called Club Wealth for years, from 2016 to 2022. And then I have teenagers. So life got in the way of doing that. So I really had to pull back on being coached and also being a coach at the time. And now I coach with a gentleman named Brian Curtis, which I'm sure a lot of people have heard about. He's known very well in the real estate world and he does at Curtis Tribe coaching. So it's just one-on-one different type of coaching for sure. It's still real estate related, but he also helps a lot with things that are going as we grow up, right, into our leadership roles. There's a lot of head things and mental things that start to happen and emotional things that start to happen as we're growing. So he's helped me a lot. He's helped me out tremendously with that.
Yeah. It's so interesting because, we have so many seasons of life and the business doesn't stop, but kind of how we look at those things change. So it's always such an evolution, this business and real estate and just all the things.
All the things. Yes. I'm a huge believer on finding a coach
Mm.
and being coached. And I think the hardest thing about that is there are so many quote unquote coaches
Mhm.
in the real estate world that are just shiny objects online. And until you really start to dig into who that person is, you really shouldn't be coaching with them. You've really got to make sure that the person that's coaching you is one, either where you want to go or doing more business than you. And two, that they're actually doing the things that they say they're going to do. Because anybody can throw, spaghetti on the wall online and say they're the best thing ever. But it is so important for you to do your research. Everybody needs a coach. And it's so important that you do your research and find the right one.
Yeah. And I think with social media, like, there can be a lot of smoking mirrors. You can make it look like you do all this business and but the reality is it's smoke and mirrors. Anybody can write a book, but what one actually gives you value. So I think also too when you're looking for a coach, sometimes it takes a while to find the right one because you have to kind of dig through your personality types. And just finding somebody, you almost have to interview or kind of flirt with them to make sure that they're going to be a good fit and the money that you're spending is actually worth it. So,
Now, I have found most of my coaches actually attending events because then you really get to see somebody one on one and you can feel a lot of the energy coming out of them. So when you go to these events, introduce yourself to the people that are on stage.
yeah.
And I know you guys do events, and so I think it's so helpful for those of us that are constantly on the hunt to try to find
Mhm.
somebody that we want to emulate. You really, to attend those events, you need to be out there talking to people. You need to be networking because that's where you're really going to get a feel for how somebody truly is in their
Yeah.
business, in their personal life.
And I think that like those events they're so powerful. And if people really lay it all out there and they're vulnerable, I think that that's when you really actually see the human of somebody. And those are the things that really transform your business because you can take those things because you relate to them and kind of make it your own, but just grow so much.
And I completely agree.
So, are you doing speaking engagements too?
Yeah. Yep, I speak any opportunity they can, locally, nationally. When I was with Club Wealth, I was their main speaker. On they hosted so many events, so was their MC for a long time, and also spoke. So I've spoken on stages for years.
Are you laying out, like, building a team, or what's your biggest takeaway that you're trying to get across to people?
Most of the time, it is about building a team, a successful team. I have a story that a lot of people resonate to. In 2013, before becoming a real estate agent, I was a single mom that got no financial help. Still am a single mom. I get
Mm.
no financial help from their dad, which was our agreement. So it's not like he's a POS is taken off. Our agreement at the time of our divorce. I want to say that so they don't.
Because you're a boss.
I did not want child support from him. So, but I quit my job, became a real estate agent, but I was unemployed for 6 months before I became a real estate agent. And I was living off of government assistance, just me and my kids. We were on Medicaid, we were on food stamps. And now to see where I've come since then and what I've built over the years, a lot of people really resonate with that. So what I like to do whenever I'm invited to speak is to really find out what the direction of where the event, what kind of direction, who's their target audience, really, what's the message that they want to get out, and then I can cater my presentations to that.
I love that. I love a comeback story. And I think that everybody wants to see people win. And I think, this is kind of a scary business for someone who, the stability is not always there. We're not
Mhm.
getting 401k and healthcare. But I think that if you do the work and you have great relationships, like, you can make this work. It's just scary to, quit your job and go all in. But it is sink or swim. And I think that that kind of separates the people who are successful and not, because they're willing to do the work.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as women, a lot of times, especially single moms, that's the excuse that we give ourselves is, oh, I'm just a single mom. I can't do that. I'm just a single mom. I can't accomplish that. I see that a lot over the years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're a single mom. Do you realize how powerful that is? Like, you're raising a family on your own. In my opinion, we are Wonder Women. We're super women. We have powers beyond we ever thought possible. And so we're the strongest people that I know. And I like to spread that message out there. So there's a lot of my presentations that are catered towards women. I'm also involved in a group called Go Abundance Women, which
You're part of Go Abundance. I love that.
Yes. So he started Go Abundance Men all of those years ago. And so then I'm on the women's side. And so there's a lot of single moms in there. And I think we're extremely powerful human beings and women, of course. And so there's so much that we can accomplish that I think sometimes we forget that because we're tired at the end of the day of being a parent. But I was able to do it, and I think anybody's able to do it. So I'd like to, always sit down and show people that they're valuable, they're worthy, and they're fully capable of doing it.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that also, it's not just all business. In Real Estate Rockstars, we really take more of a holistic view to the business, because, you have to take care of yourself. You have to put on your mask first when the plane's going down. So I think that's really empowering. And I think finding a group like Go Abundance is really cool, because you're getting outside of your hyper local community. And I think that when you surround yourself with people that you don't see every day and have different perspectives, like, you just learn so much for them. And it's just so inspiring to see.
Now you see what's capable and what's actually possible.
Yeah. So if you had to go back and tell yourself something when you started your team and you hired that first admin, what are some high level tidbits that you have had success in growing the team, or things that you're not like, do not do this?
Do not keep
Like,
people
don't
on the
hire
team
your
that
best
are
friend, or, like, what are some of those stories? I mean, work with your mom. I mean, that's a whole nother episode. I work with my husband, so I get it.
You do get it. It definitely brings a whole different conversation at Thanksgiving dinner. That's for sure.
It sure does. And it's hard to cut off. Like, okay,
Yes.
we're not talking about this now. Like,
It's hard. And I don't have a spouse, so I can't even imagine what your life is like at dinner time because, yeah, you do bring it home and it's the only time you can disconnect. So,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
sure you guys probably definitely had to put some boundaries in place. We are not going to talk about real estate at dinner time. We're putting our phones away.
Mhm.
And I do work with my mom. My dad's a builder. He's been building since the 80s. My brother is slowly taking over that. So we are like an all
You got the whole gang,
encompassing,
girl.
the whole family. Yes, the whole family of us. So we have very interesting Thanksgiving.
That's a book of business I want to buy.
Yes, it's amazing. I'm very blessed for sure. It's been an amazing ride, but I would say some of my biggest things for when I first started the team is I was on social media and I was seeing all of these team leaders and like, you've got stars in your eyes of, oh, they're doing this. And it takes time. It's a
Mm.
lot harder than what people seem to think. I did not make a profit. My first year, we lost money. Our second year, we broke even, and I was stoked. Our third year, it took us 3 years before we really started making a profit. And at that time, I think, 2013, our average price point was probably like 140 or $170,000. I mean, it was
So you're doing
small.
volume. Hmm.
Oh yes, we have to do volume. So I think what I was seeing on social media and even in the club wealth culture, eco culture, was a lot of people seem to have all this success and not the problems that came along with it. And when I really started to dive into their lives, I realized they have the same problems I do. And as team leaders, what I've seen over the years is a problem arises. Let's say your team blew up and you think, oh my God, I can't do this. Nobody can do this. How do people get this done? They just must have this magic wand that they wave. And no, we've all struggled with it. You just don't read about that. So we have to learn more than anything as we're growing a team is that it's harder than you realize, but it's worth it once you get over that hump. And when something bad happens, we've probably all been there and we've all done that. You have to give yourself some grace and just say, okay, that's fine. I can have my meltdown tonight, but tomorrow I have people still on my team or I have admin that are still depending me to get up, put one foot in front of the other and continue to move forward. This was not an overnight success for me at all. And you see that a lot online. Oh my gosh, this person has, 100 agents. How come I don't have 100 agents? And, you really have to figure out your goals. Is that what you want? Because that tends to be a revolving door. That's not what I wanted. So I have a smaller team. But because of that, we're very family orientated, but I'm not making $bazillion either. So you really have to figure out what you want in life. When you start building a team,
Gotta
not
get that
everybody's
why down.
designed.
Gotta get that
Yes.
why.
Oh, it's so important. If you don't have a why or a purpose, you have no
You're just
reason.
lost. You're just
Yes.
lost out there.
Yes.
How do you
Yeah.
deal with the breakups? Like you let's say you bring in a team member and you just, give them all the things, and then they decide to leave. How do you deal with that? Or do you have them sign like a year or how do you manage that when they come in?
I don't have them sign a contract because if they don't want, it's kind of like a buyer's agency
Yeah.
agreement. If the buyer doesn't want to work with me, I don't want to work with them either. And I feel that
Right.
same one.
Mhm.
But I can understand why people do because it costs a lot of money to onboard an agent. It's a lot of time, energy, and money to do it. So I can totally understand both sides of it. It's just what I've chosen not to do. I have had some breakups you see coming, right? They've not had a single closing in 4 months and you're getting ready to get out of the business. And then I've had some that are a little bit more contentious. Then I've had some that I'm like, oh, there you go. So they really don't bother me. I'm not a super emotional person. I don't take a lot of things personally. I believe everybody should find the soil where they grow the most. And if that's with my team, fantastic. If that is somebody else's soil, fantastic. My responsibility lies with me first and my peace and my business. And their responsibility lies within them. And that's fine if it's not with me and the path that I'm going down. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I'm going to change my entire path to make them happy because that still won't work either,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you really have to be at peace with a lot of it. Not everybody likes everybody, and that's okay.
Not everybody's gonna like you.
Yeah,
You're not for
okay.
everybody. So tell me about this. How do you manage splits? Is it based upon their experience? And then how do you manage like the cost of marketing for your team members? Do you pay for photography, staging? Like how does that all look? Real estate rock stars, it's Sarah Denig, and today I'm telling you the holidays are over. If you are still nursing that holiday hangover and your whole goal for the year was just survive this season, it's time to level up. Come join us March 4th through 6th in Austin, Texas. This is a life-changing experience where people are so open. They will share. You will increase your business. If you have goals and you want to execute, come join us. We are better together, and I cannot wait to see you guys. Take this chance on yourself. Trust me.
So for the team members, in terms of what I provide them, I'll pay for their business cards and their headshots and their name tag. And then any seats that I need, like Sisu, I have to have a seat, follow up boss, I have to have a seat. So we do all that, of course. And then you get your own special email. So that is the cost really, it's fairly minimal. I'd say it's less than $2,000 to provide all that up front.
Mhm.
And then of course the training that goes along with it, because there's a lot of one-on-one training when they're onboarding. So that's how I manage that. And I forgot what the first part of your question was.
Photography and staging, do you help with any of that? Like, or is that on them
That's
for
not,
their
well,
listings?
for our listings, no, we take care of all of that.
You do.
Split. So the splits are based on experience. You come in with a certain split, and then as you produce more, then your split goes up. We do have it maxed out, and we do a lot of different things within our team to help with some different avenues of making money. We've got a property management division. We've got a flip division. If they have a house that they would love to flip, then we will buy the house. We're like their hard money lender. We'll buy the house, and then they have to pay for the remodel work and do all of the remodel stuff. And then they can flip it. So we've got a little bit more incentive for them to stay on the team, because I recognize a lot of times, especially as they become more experienced, the splits really starts to matter a lot to them. So
Yeah.
we have over the years tried to find different ways to help them make money on different avenues, all while learning how to do this business, because we have a golden ticket. Real estate agents have a golden ticket that so many people in the world want. And we go out there and we're experienced. We do what we're supposed to do. You guys should not just be buying and selling houses for everybody else. You should be buying and selling them for yourself. You should be buy and hold. You should be understanding fix and flips, which this is like, because we don't have a 401k. So we gotta
Speaking
learn how
my
to do.
love language right
Yeah.
there. If you're in real estate and you are not investing, you are working for a tip. We're gonna say it on every episode. That's what we're gonna do. Now that is interesting. So you will buy the house, or
Yes.
you'll hard money lend them
Yeah.
at like
Cheap.
12%? Like, what are we
10%.
talking?
10%. Yeah. We'll do it cheap.
10%?
Yeah. Only
I'm
people
gonna
on our
join your
team.
team, girls.
Only people on the team. They took up with that. We'll only buy the house. So you have to have the money for all the remodel work. And if it's $50,000 remodel, I'm not paying for that. You've got to pay for that.
And
And
that usually
then,
works out positively?
yeah, then when they sell the house, all they do is pay me back the seed money plus the 10%. And then everything else goes to you.
That seems like a lot of risk for you. Is it not really?
No, because I own the
You
house.
evaluate the deal, I'm sure, and, like, go
Oh,
through it, and it's a
absolutely.
teaching
Yeah. Yeah.
moment, and you feel good about it.
Yeah.
Are you teaching, like, the 70-30 rule, or how are you, teaching them, like, what's a good deal, versus not?
I literally just walk through, either me or Linda, my mom, will walk through every single house and we'll say, okay, an HVAC unit costs around $6,000 to replace. This one's probably going to have to be replaced. I mean, literally good old fashioned notebook and spreadsheet, and show them what they want. And then just say, okay, it might take you 4 or 5 months to do this. You might only make $10,000. Is that worth it to you? Or you might only make $5,000 after, all the fees and everything. And yeah, so it's really up to them whether or not they want to do it. But I mean, we've been in the real estate world my whole life. So you get to where you kind of just know if it's a good one or not. The biggest one that's going to kill you is if you don't, we have crawl spaces here. If you don't know what's underneath that house, it might be covered in mold. Termites aren't a big deal, but the roof is usually the biggest expense.
Who's
So I've
doing
got
all
a
the
roof.
contract work? Are they GCing it themselves, or do you guys have an in-house contractor?
Nope, they're responsible for all of it. So they've got their
Wow.
own contractors. We'll give them our contractors' names and numbers, but if they want to use somebody else, they can, or if they want to do it themselves, they can.
So are you helping them with the scope of work, or is that their contractors helping them with the scope of work?
We walk through and tell them what we think that they should do, definitely. But then
That's
it's
so
their
cool.
responsibility to basically manage their own property.
And how many of those are you doing a year, probably?
And well, we do our own fix and flip, so I'm going to leave that on the side because that doesn't really count. I would say we probably did 4 or 5 last year for our agents.
I mean, that could be a whole curriculum. I mean, you could teach an
Yeah.
entire class to brokers on how to do that, because, we have a brokerage too. And what my business partner, we both buy houses and we flip, but we make it a very learning experience. So everybody comes and we do field trips. We challenge the everyday broker to come and give us their scope of work. And then it's kind of a game. And then whoever gets the closest, gets a gift card or something. But it's kind of like, what would you do here? And what we do is a lot of AI rendering. So out of that have come different businesses, but we do AI rendering so you can see what the finished product is. And then we blow them up. And then we do, open houses with the before and after. And it's really a good attraction tool too for the brokerage because most people aren't doing stuff like this. I mean, what you just said with that is blowing my mind and I love it. And I want to ask you 1,000 questions, but I know that's not what the podcast is really about today. But that is amazing. And I would love to talk offline more about that. That's super cool.
Oh, I have to learn what you're doing right now. It's just if I have an agent, she just comes to me, she or he just comes to me, and then it's a one-on-one walkthrough through the house and
Yeah.
learning experience. So
Yeah.
I don't know why you don't ever think about bringing your whole brokerage there.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
but it's
amazing.
so
That
cool
would be
because
amazing.
it's like everybody has a clipboard and it's like, how would you do this room? Like, let's really look at the price point of this neighborhood. So, like, is it a, 1930s bungalow in a really hipster type area? You might be doing some more funky tile. You might be, one we have right now. It's a 2-bed, 1 bath, and it has an attached garage and a detached garage. So we took the entire attached garage and made it a master suite, added, that square foot, and then we got such a deal. So and I think our biggest issue right now is really finding the deals. How
Yeah.
are you? Because if it's on the MLS, it's too late. Our wholesalers are inflated. Organically is my biggest bread and butter. Is just people I know. It's like I can sell this for you, or you can hit this easy button, especially with aging parents. That kind of deals, like the best ones that we can find. And my goal is like if someone is in a bind and they need to offload something really quick, they can call me and I will have the cash to buy and redo it. And then they're not dealing with probate and a lot of those issues. But, I'm always just looking for how people are finding these amazing deals to flip.
Just because we're like number 4 in our community in terms of real estate agents here. So we have a
Oh, wow.
large presence. And so a lot of people just call us. I used to have billboards, which we actually stopped with the billboards in November, but I had billboards that says I'll buy it for cash. But the lead sources that we use mostly that are fantastic is verified leads, which is just $42 a lead, and Z Buyer.
Taking
So
notes.
yes, take notes. Take notes, everybody. Verified leads and Z Buyer are those typically are looking for cash offers.
That's really cool. I've never bought leads before. And I think it's really interesting. My business has all been like relationships and people that I know, but I think with the investment game, I really want to explore more of that. Because, there's a lot of people around here who have we buy houses signs everywhere. And I think that my biggest issue with leads, and maybe you can help me overcome this, is I don't want to be in a house with people I don't know and feel not safe. So I don't know if I put somebody else in charge of that to go vet it. But until you're actually in the house, it's just like pricing a house. You can give people comps all day, but until you walk in that house and you see that they have no like covers on electric outlets, the carpet's a hot mess, it smells like death. You don't really know how to price that house yet. And then you have to know, are they going to be willing to do paint touch ups? Are they getting new carpet? That's really cool. And I think what you were saying earlier about this business, there's so many options of things that you can do. Out of all of this, you find your niche and there's riches in niches. We have a lot of buyers who are not scared to do work, but they don't want to undertake it. So we can go in and find them the perfect location and house, but take down walls and make it functional for their family. And we take that on and, we can get it done in 30, 45 days, but we have our own contractors, like in-house contractors that they're really busy now though. So we need to find some more people, but who will do the entire scope of work and kind of manage it all. So that's really cool. Do you guys have, and this is something that we have recently implemented. We ask the people, what sucks? What's your pain point? And a lot of agents are like, I hate inspection responses. I hate getting quotes, all that stuff. So we've implemented as an in-house kind of handyman, jack of all trades, if you will. So we can send the inspection report, to this person and they can spit out pricing. And if they don't do something, they can tell you, but then you can actually know what to ask for on the buyer side. Or on the listing side, you know what you're getting into before you commit. Within 48 hours, you have pricing. So that's been really cool. Have you guys implemented anything in-house that might be great for a team to have?
They have other agents that they work with. Of course, I've got my dad and my brother that I can shoot a lot of things over if it's super, super quick. And they'll do a lot of the work if they get in. It's not their first choice because they do new construction. So they're out there building, 30 houses a year. So they stay really busy. But if I have a closing, that's not going to happen because the electrician screwed up the GFCI, then I can get my dad out there real quick to, fix it and take care of it. So we got that. But we've got 3 handyman separate from that we send a lot of work to.
I want to be like your cousin. I want to get in this family business. I'm so jealous. So are you finding the land for your new construction? Like they're like a custom builder and they're doing one house at a time or a couple houses at a time?
We do it all. So we used to develop, or say we used to, we only have one time. We developed an entire subdivision and we bought the land in 2002 or 2004. It took 2 years for the city to approve everything, which was 2006. And then of course we started building and then '08 happened. So we sat on that development for way too long. The timing was awful. We swore we would never do that again because paying interest payments on land that you can't build on is the worst thing ever. But also because of that, we sat on those lots, but we started getting lots from a lot of builders that were going under. So we started getting super cheap lots. And so we just kind of went over there and started building houses for a while. And right now, though, we have partnered with a developer who loves our work, our style of work. So he only allows 3 builders in his subdivision, and it's kind of the latest and greatest up and coming thing in our area. And we do specs, we do customs. Really, it's whatever you want. We've been doing it so long, we can do it. When '08, '09, '10 happened, they weren't loaning any money. Banks weren't loaning any money to builders for spec houses, and nobody was buying houses because the market was tight. So that's when we really got into the flip business because people were staying put. They were remodeling their house. So that's when we really started doing a lot of remodels.
I love that. Okay, I think you need to write a book.
Okay.
Chapter 1 is going to be working with your mom and brother and dad. Chapter 2 is going to be hard money lending to your team. Chapter 3 is going to be buying specs and selling for your family. And I don't know. I feel like there's so much more. So that's really cool. And I'm with you on that.
I'll listen to this and start taking notes because I don't ever, the thing with it is you don't ever think about it. We just don't think about it when you're in
that are so cool that you just don't hear everybody doing. I mean, you're the real deal. Like I'm super impressed. I actually work with a builder too. And this is kind of a newer thing. But basically they give me an allowance and they say, hey, go find these lots. So I find the lot and then I figure out, hey, who's the avatar that's going to live here? And then I help them. I just go on like homes.com or somewhere and then figure out what would be the best. So we recently, there's a nice country club golf course and we had to get approved to be a builder in there. So that was the first huddle. So we had to pitch the whole thing to them and tell them why we're worthy because, we haven't ever broken into this side of town, never done anything this high end. And then, figure out the avatar. Well, it's going to be a golfer, probably going to be someone older, empty nester, probably wants a ranch with a walkout basement, probably wants, most of their living on the main level, but want to have family and be able to entertain, wants the outdoor lanai that's overlooking the course, really, it's on a hole. So really focusing the house on there. And then, and then all the fancy things. Then you have to go through architectural review. You can't have forward facing garages. These are $1 million houses. They have to be on the side. It has to be this certain material and you have to have so many plants. Like it's insane, the nitty gritty of things. But I think that those are all like, it's so much work up front, but it's just so cool to look back and be like, damn, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
And find those, like, I bet they want a, downstairs golf course or golf cart garage that's like really little. And, it's just, that's the creative side of this business. And, that's a whole nother niche and things that, can take off. This is not just about helping people buy and sell houses. This is so much more. This is being an entrepreneur. So I love that. I love that.
Really having the heart and it starts with just getting out there, becoming an agent and learning all the things you can learn. And it's a process. I mean, we didn't do all this overnight. People have to patience. I think we forget that patience. Patience is
Do you
key.
have a brokerage or who are you guys powered by?
EXP.
Okay.
We were with a local brokerage. My whole career, we were with a local brokerage until 2023 is when we officially moved over to EXP.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah,
That's because I wanted to be small. We were the number one agent at the local brokerage. And so, which is great. It's great for accolades, but I think there gets to be a point where you want to be the smallest fish not maybe the smallest, but you want to be a small fish in a big pond instead of the biggest fish in a pond. we were looking for somebody to stretch us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. When my business partner and I broke off from like local or, franchise type brokerages, we were looking at different avenues of what to do. And I think the private brokerage is kind of hard because you want systems that are already there. You need help with the back end. And it's really hard to know cap management and those type of things. Are you having to deal with cap management or figuring out any of that stuff, or do they take all that on?
Yeah, they take care of all that. That's why
Okay.
we didn't go out on our own. It was a thought process to go out on our own.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to be able to rub elbows with people that, knew more than I did. I mean, I'm always wanting to go out there and such a thirst for knowledge.
You know why I think one of the reasons you're so successful is your ego is so not there. Like single mom, put it all aside, started from the bottom, now you're here. It's a rap song, it's really good. But like, to know that you don't need all that and you want to learn from people who have been there. And I think that once you get in that mindset, um, of abundance and you can crush it, like look what you're doing. Like I
Yeah.
love it. So we would love to have you come to our Real Estate Rockstars event. I think that you would flourish and you would be such a good contribution um to that event.
I love it.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's in Texas in March. So you'll have to come. Austin.
Yes. Yes. I
Love
would
that.
love to. Yeah. You got it's Austin, first week of March.
Yeah, March 4th through
Third,
the
fourth, and
6th.
fifth.
So
Fourth
we
and the
have some
sixth. Okay.
phenomenal speakers, but we're always looking for more. We were looking for some more women influence. So yeah, you should definitely come check us out.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you. Yay. And then I get to
Any
meet you in
other
person.
I don't know. Any other thoughts why we have you? Anything else that you wanted to kind of share and where can people find you?
So my name is Kelly, Kellie. Last name is REV as in Victor OIR. That's pretty much my handler for all of my social media stuff. You can find me anywhere. But really, I think the biggest thing to take away from this is that anybody can be where I'm at. You just have to have the patience and the drive to get out there and do it. The patience tends to be the biggest thing, I think, in the culture today. Especially there's so many young people coming into our industry nowadays and they just expect overnight success and it doesn't happen that way, but you can still have massive success. It is, this is the best profession. In my opinion, it is one of the best professions that we can have. And it's such a blessing to be able to help people around us, not only fuel their career, but also help them buy and sell. I feel like a dream maker most of the time. You help your buyers and sellers find their dream homes. And as a team leader, I'm helping other realtors have their dream of being a successful realtor come to life. And it's just the best. The best.
I think it's so funny that you quit corporate America because I'm totally getting like past teacher nurse. 'Cause it seems
Yeah.
like you really have a servant heart and you want to see the people around you win. And, that's a lot of sacrifice for you because you could just build all these systems and go out there and rain make and crush it. But the fact that take on 13 people, because team leading is not easy. Like it's a lot.
It's a lot of work. Yes.
And with the coaching, are you coaching for the public or is this just coaching for people on your team? Or what's the story if somebody's listening to this and they're like, I want to learn more about hard money loaning to my team. Like I think that's a whole nother world.
So it's all just kind of an a la carte thing. I don't have a formal coaching program because I have my team here and I've got mentors or mentees within the EXP world as well that reach out to me. And I just have people all the time just reaching out to me and maybe they don't want full-time coaching. It's just kind of an a la carte. Can you teach me how to do this real quick? And then I can teach them in a month or two of how to do it. So I don't really have anything formal. I think over 2025, that is something that I'm looking at accomplishing over the next year or so. But as of right now, no, it's nothing.
You have separate LLCs for this hard money and separate LLCs for coaching.
Oh,
And
yeah.
are you running that all through QuickBooks or how are you tracking that?
Yeah. All through QuickBooks. Yes.
And you have a
Yep.
bookkeeper that's managing
Yes.
all of this?
Yes, for sure. I definitely have a bookkeeper that helps me with all of
And you
it.
have a bank account for each LLC that's
Yeah. Which was really expensive with this BOIR thing that just came out because we had to register our LLCs with this new thing that just came out in January. It was a really expensive thing because I have so many LLCs. But yeah, we've got, I don't even know, probably 7 or 8 different LLCs because I have so many rentals. My family has 50 rentals. I personally have 9 that I own. And so there gets to be a point where you have to have certain LLCs for a certain amount. And you got to talk to a lawyer and an accountant and make sure that you're protected. And if somebody sues you because they slipped on the ice while they were drunk at 2 a.m., I need to make sure they're not going to sue me and take everything that I worked so hard for. So,
A
yeah, you've
balloon
really got to.
insurance policy.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you have to have a good insurance person, a good accountant, a good lawyer. But again, that's not where I started. I started with just little old Kellie Revoir buying and selling homes.
Do
So
you have
it's
like a
just,
Rolodex of all your preferred vendors?
yes. Oh
Are
yeah.
you charging
I,
them to be like on this list?
no, I don't charge them anything. It's, I say I've got a lot of, I'm a single female, but it's a joke that I've got a termite boyfriend. I've got a roofer boyfriend. I got a landscaping boyfriend. Like I've just got these people I can shoot them over a message and say, can you go fix this for me? And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely.
We
So
say
I
the
don't,
same thing. There's my exterior boyfriend.
so you get it. I think
Oh,
it's just a lot of
100%.
give and take. I don't expect anything from them besides really good service for me and my clients. And they
That's the
all, if
thing. If
they,
I'm referring you, my name's on it. So you need to make me
yes,
look good. I'll make you look good. And as soon as you
exactly.
don't, you're off.
Yes.
So cool. So many things. Amazing. Well, I mean, my mind is blown. This has been such a great time. I feel like there's so many more little things that like I could go through a whole episode of all your LLCs and how that's all managed. But thank you so much for taking the time out to share all of this with us today. Like it has been really, really amazing. You're very captivating.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks for the time because I know it was on
Yeah.
such short notice. And
Oh
so
yeah,
I
I
really
know.
appreciate it.
Yeah. So I'm going to send you a link to the real estate rock stars to sign up. We kind of are taking over the whole hotel. It's really cool. We have all kinds of speakers. We'll have a 5K. We'll have a yoga instructor come. We'll have, I mean, we do it all. Like it's just so fun because we really want everybody to be in a really good headspace. And especially, with you and GoBundance and Matt King, who's the CEO of GoBundance the Men. He'll
Yep.
be speaking too. He spoke last year, so he's really cool. And I can't wait to talk to you more about Go Abundance Women because it's something that I've also considered.
Oh,
So yeah,
definitely.
maybe I'll look
Yeah.
into it.
We're going to Puerto Rico next week. You should come.
Oh,
Yep.
that would be real nice. I mean, it's
So
-10 here in Indiana. I'm over it. So
I'm so ready. I'm so ready to go to sunshine, get some
yes,
sunshine.
vitamin
Yeah.
D. So
Yes.
all right. Well, thank you so much. It was such a
You.
pleasure. And Real Estate Rock Stars, you guys are gonna love this one.